The Chicago Sky have reportedly, according to the Chicago Sun-Times, had preliminary talks with the recently fired coach Curt Miller. According to a lot of Sky fans, they ain't gonna be too happy about it, but me and Steve are gonna talk about it all and more right after this.
Welcome to Chicago Sky Central, and here's your host, Haize.
What's going on, Sky fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Sky Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Sky related. We got myself and Stevo in the building today. And Stevo, this came out a few hours ago, in which it was an article largely talking about the Chicago Sky and the patience that they're approaching this coaching search with. We'll get into that in a second. But in this article as well, it said that they have had preliminary discussions with Curt Miller on multiple occasions. How do you feel about the Chicago Sky having conversations with Curt Miller about their vacant coaching position?
I mean, you should be doing your due diligence and figuring out the type of coach is, talking to him, meeting him multiple times to get the feel of him, see if that's a direction where you go, because this is a pivotal direction that you're gonna have to go. So you really gotta know what you're doing, and you really have to believe and trust the mindset that's coming in here, because you walking on eggshells. Like they trying to act like they trying to play the right faces and say the nice things, but everybody feel the tension around the whole organization. So yeah, like this is a pivotal role. Like, but when it comes to Curt Miller, like he's his record speaks for itself. He's a two-time coach of the year, one in 2017, one in 2021. I think those both was the stint with the Connecticut Suns where they was deep in the playoffs each and every year. So he definitely knows what he's doing on the X's and O's, and based on if we were somebody we're going to bring in for us to be a coach, I think it's going to be a night and day when it comes to the X's and the O's when it comes to that to basketball. But yeah, like when I think based on what Jeff has been saying, when he's looking for this coach, he's thinking more X's and O's. He's thinking it's more of a basketball move, and this is looking at Kirk. This is definitely a basketball move in terms of a coach coming from it.
And it's funny because I had a video I dropped yesterday in which I talked about candidates for the Chicago Sky's coaching position, and I mentioned Curt Miller in that. And a lot of Sky fans reacted with a lot of vitriol, more so focusing on his time in LA, which he did have an overall losing record in LA. But I think people forget this is a coach that went to the finals 2 times. And I don't care about the narrative of him not playing Rickea Jackson and all that. Like, I get it. I understand the concern there, right? But if the Sky are making a move to try to bring in a coach that they feel is it ups the standard of winning right away, Curt Miller, X's and O's parts, from just the X's and O's, we talk about the personality and everything else. From the X's and O's part, he is a great X's and O's coach. And I think the situation in LA, people also have to think that was clearly a team that when he initially went there was some hope that they were going to try to compete. They very quickly switched to being more of a tanking team. And so, that's the thing there. Is Curt Miller a perfect candidate? No. And I do love in this article as well that they did point out that them and every other team right now is waiting to see what's going to happen with Stephanie White. Now, how do you feel about Stephanie White as a candidate if she becomes available? Because initially there was some thought that her time in Connecticut was coming to an end. Now it seems like maybe Connecticut is kind of second guessing that, considering she is under contract for another season. But if Stephanie White hits that market, Steve-O, how do you feel about her as a potential coach for the Chicago?
I mean, I'm a big fan of Stephanie White. I'm kind of in the headset that they're not going to let her go because it just don't make sense to. I think
that's initially what my thought was too before that report came out.
Yeah, I think when you look at the Connecticut Suns, it's not really necessarily a coaching problem. I think you need to bring out a little bit more of it's a player over there. I ain't gonna get to it because that's another story for them, their fan base to talk about. But there's a player that just needs to do more over there to take them to where they trying to be. So I don't necessarily think it's a coaching thing. I think she's doing that very well. So for us, it would make out of everything, it probably make the most sense. She's from the area. She was born in Dansville, so she grew up in Indiana. Went to Purdue, so she's around. She's local, and she's another X's and O's coach, but she's also a player's coach. She's also a former player, so that's something that the players can relate to on this team. So I think she's probably like she's tied for my first and second favorite between her and Curt. But yeah, I like the move, but I don't think they're gonna let her go.
Yeah, I mean, if they do let her, the thing is that, and I said this in the video yesterday, if the Sky were to hire Stephanie White, that puts all the pressure on Jeff Pagliosha to make win now moves every chance that he gets, because you don't bring in the Stephanie White to just be like, you still want to rebuild, and I think she's still going to develop players for sure, but you don't do that with saying, oh, we're 3 years away. No, you do that to say you're about to make moves right now. So
Yeah.
so
And I want to talk on the Kurt thing
go ahead.
because like a lot of people look at the whole situation with him when he went to that team, and y'all gotta realize he went there and he had NECA, Jordan Canada, Derek Henby, Shanae. He had all that on his team in the blink of an eye. Everybody left.
Yeah.
So he went from a team. He went from being in the finals, being in the playoffs to every year, to going to a LA team with future Hall of Famers, All Star, good young talent on there, and then you trade Jordan. Neckers get traded to Seattle. Jordan went to Atlanta. Shanae retired, and some other players retired. Azare deal with injuries, so
Yeah.
with every that being said, and then you get this whole new haul of basically now we're in a rebuild. Now Cameron Bree, Rakia, yeah, you didn't really give him no time to really install what he wanted to do. So it's kind of almost like what he went through, what Teaspoon went there, they kind of did with him. He kind of got blamed for everything when it really wasn't his fault. This was not the team he had in mind or the direction he had in mind. It's almost like with us when Teaspoon thought he was gonna have Kai. Next thing you know, she traded.
Exactly. And for this comment, I've seen a lot of this. Oh, but what about Kennedy Carter? She will not be here.
Oh.
Here's the thing. Kennedy Carter, did not play under Curt Miller. It wasn't his decision to cut Kennedy Carter. On top of that, Kennedy Carter is a restricted free agent. If the Sky want her back, they can match any deal. This is what it is.
Yep.
So, at the end of the day, I definitely understand the thought process of, oh, will Kennedy Carter come here if Curt Miller's here, considering the narrative and the talk around those things. But I think people got to realize Curt Miller, when he came here, was dealing with a lot of shit. When he was hired on as the head coach, Kennedy Carter was one of 2 players that were under contract, but it's not that he didn't believe. A lot of people didn't believe in Kennedy. Let's be clear here. That was at Kennedy Carter when she was at one of her lowest. The opinion around her has changed, and hopefully Curt Miller is as smart of a coach to understand to change that. I understand when it comes down to that, but you got to keep in mind the Liz Cambage thing was going on at that time,
right?
And honestly, the Sparks weren't the right environment for Kennedy Carter at that point in time, who already she admitted that she probably needed to step away from the game a little bit. That actually helped her mature, because if you had Liz Cambage and Kennedy Carter around that team at that same time, that would have been a shit fucking show. Period.
That dumpster fire. Man, that would have that's some attitudes to deal with right there.
Yeah.
I don't know if any coach can deal with that. So on top of that, you got NECA, who's damn near like the president of the league almost. So like,
yeah,
and like I said, and then like he lost all of them in the blink of an eye. Liz gone, NECA gone, Jordan gone. So yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah, that's a fact. That's a fact. So, overall, we'll see what happens when it comes down to it. And like I said, Curt Miller is a good X's and O's coach, and I can understand, especially with Jeff Pagliosha looking into it again. It's not going to be, and like I've told you guys before, at the end of the day, the Sky don't have to make the moves to make y'all happy. They got to make the right moves for the franchise, and we'll see what they do. If Stephanie White is available, to me, you back up the Brinks truck, you get Stephanie White in here. But we'll see what this guy do. And the thing that came out in this article as well, I said we're going to get into, that I do like, is that they made sure they pointed out that the Sky felt like they moved extremely quick to find a new head coach after James Wade left, which led them to Teresa Weatherspoon. They're taking their patience with this approach. They want to see who else may become available. And I think that's a smart approach, because the last thing you would want to do, for example, is to hire Curt Miller immediately right now, and then 2 weeks later, Stephanie White does end up becoming available, and she would have come here, right? So that's something that you're going to have to really look at as well. I love that they're taking a more patient approach. Again, I still think they got the right coach in getting Teresa Weatherspoon at that time, but I do like that they're going to do their due diligence and they're going to take meetings with multiple people when it comes down to it. So
I just wanted to address this thing. Like, I get what you're saying, but you saying he didn't get it done with Connecticut. They had all stars, young all stars, but he ran into some people. He ran against us when we got hot at the hottest time when we smoked everybody in the W. And then in 17, 16, they ran against Minnesota with Simone Gus and Cheryl Reese was still doing their thing. Alongside the Sparks was still good in 2017. So it was a lot of good teams at that time.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and that whole mindset of every coach becomes available because they couldn't get it over the hope at some point. That mindset of you couldn't get it done with this team. So that's not a realistic thing in sports. Like if you could go through, look at the coaches that couldn't get over the hump with certain rosters. That doesn't mean they can't with different ones. That doesn't mean they can't learn from it, right? So
I was about to say, if you want to be technical, Teaspoon didn't get over nothing.
I mean, if you want to be technical too, with Stephanie White, like she lost in what
she
the
didn't
second
do
round
nothing.
multiple times, lost in the finals as well. Like, so I mean, every coach is going to have. There's no perfect coach. Every coach is going to have something that you can pick apart. And me and Stevo are we try to be very level-headed. We try to look at the positive and the negative of everything. We understand that Curt Miller is not going to be a popular option for a lot of Sky fans, and there are a lot of valid reasons why it should not. But there are also some reasons why it could work out for the Sky, and we just got to see. We got to see. Yeah.
Don Staley ain't available, y'all. I'm sorry. Like these the people y'all want, like these hypotheticals, Cheryl Swoop, like it ain't happening. Like what's her name at USC? The sister.
Damn it, I know who you're talking about.
She ain't coaching. She was that was just pure entertainment for her in the coaching the 3-on-3s in the All-Star game. Like she ain't doing it. She done stepped away from analyzing everything. She ain't really trying to coach. Like a lot of these people ain't trying to coach for real.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see. And I mean, you never know. Could the Sky go out? Like, let me ask you this, Stevo. Do you think that the Sky are going to could go outside the box and hire another first-time head coach? Do you think at this point they're only going after a proven commodity of a coach?
Due to the hot water they in, they got to go for the sure thing. You can't really go. You had your chance. This is what your Teresa was your gamble. Now you crapped out. You crapped yourself out a little bit early. I ain't gonna say you crapped out because you didn't let it. Shit, you rode it one time, but shit, like I think I don't know, bro. This team weird. Who knows what they ass can do?
It's I mean, it's not like we have a long track record with Jeff Pagliocci.
I don't know.
Technically, Pagliocci didn't even hire Teresa Weatherspoon, right? That was a decision that was made before he came on. So we don't even have that to look at as like what he would do in this situation. So, I like you said, I think interview everybody, right? Sit down with everybody that's available. There are only 3 teams right now in the WNBA that are looking for head coaches. So they're probably going to go look at every franchise, see what the franchise can offer, what the franchise's direction is, interview everybody, and then make the best decision. I do hope that we're including Natasha in a decision like this. I even hope maybe Dwayne Wade gets involved in a decision like this. Like, no, I'm talking about our co-owner, Natasha, the co-owner, that she's involved in the decision as far as they make the decision as an overall unit, because I don't know right now if Jeff Pagliocci should have the oversight to make this decision unilaterally, in my opinion.
I don't know, because I don't know if Natasha know enough ball.
I mean, that's true.
With you. Yeah. Like matter of fact, I'm gonna need D Wade. We seen what he said with Angel. That ain't enough. I'm gonna need you to fuck advice. I'm gonna need you some wisdom. Shit. Because you from a GM, give us a little GM or something. Like you gotta tell us you got connections. You know people, so like I feel like as a whatever percentage owner, whatever he is, he should just invest a little bit more time, just a little bit.
Yeah,
like you see A-Rod doing over there. Now I know he got a little bit more invested, but still,
yeah. We'll see what happens, man. I think overall, the Sky, I think if I had to bet on it, whatever the decision the Sky make is going to piss more people off than it makes them happy initially. That's just the way that I see
I
it.
could bet. I don't know what the fuck the decision about to be. That's what I can make. I have no clue.
Yeah, that's for sure.
I don't even have an inkling.
Yeah. And it seems like a lot of teams right now are waiting. And honestly, the person that I think would have been a great candidate is Natalie Nikasi,
Nice.
the one with that ended up going to the Valkyrie. I think that would have been a great, like, and I did. Yeah. There were some rumblings that the Sky were interested in it. That probably would have been the one that that would have been kind of the best of both worlds as far as experience and kind of being a new mind and new eyes on things. But ultimately, we'll see. We'll see.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Any last thoughts, Steve, before we get up out of here?
No, we're gonna see what Jeff motherfucking ass gonna do.
Yeah, and you would think that they want the head coach in place as well before the expansion draft, at least to know who to make available or protect, who the coach wants, sees as part of their system. And that's what, December 8th. So
yeah, like
we 6 weeks away from that.
Moving it back. We need to stop building stuff backwards. Do it the right way. We gotta do it in sync.
Yeah. For all we know, Stevo, you could be interviewed for the next head coach. You don't want to do it? You good? All right. That's cool. I understand.
Because if Diamond is returning,
oh man, listen.
The culture is just gonna be bad. The locker room, the spirit.
That's hilarious. That's funny. But all right, y'all. Y'all make sure y'all stay in tune with us, man. When news drops, we drop. That's how it works around here, man. Stevo, tell them where they can follow you at, brother.
Hey, Stevo speaks on everything. X, Instagram. I ain't giving up my Facebook, but yeah, go ahead.
Listen, and some of y'all weird. Stop trying to find us on Facebook. Stop.
Some of y'all are, and it's getting crazy.
But we love you guys, man. Make sure you guys are following us at Chicago Sky Pod. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, Chicago Sky Central at gmail.com. And then lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-270-2799. We're the #1 spot for everything Chicago Sky related, and we'll see you guys on the next one.